Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like the person staring back wasn't you? I don't mean that you didn't recognize the face. I don't mean you have amnesia. I mean you felt like you were piloting that face from far away, like there was a delay, a split-second lag, between you thinking, move your hand, and your hand actually moving. You look at your eyes in the glass and they look flat. They look like high-resolution textures rendered on a 3D model, but the light behind them is missing. You turn away from the mirror and walk into your kitchen. You pick up a glass of water. You feel the cold glass against your skin, but the sensation feels distant. It feels muted. It's like you're wearing thick gloves. It's like the signal from your fingertips is getting compressed before it reaches your brain. You walk outside, and the world feels wrong. The sky looks like a matte painting. The trees look like low-poly assets from an old video game. The conversations you hear on the street sound scripted, like background dialogue in a movie scene you've watched 100 times. You feel like a ghost haunting your own machine. You are technically here, but your consciousness is hovering 3 inches behind your skull, watching the footage of your life rather than living it. Psychologists have a clinical name for this. They call it derealization or depersonalization. Internet culture calls it the glitch or brain rot, but I call it reality lag. It is the distinct, terrifying sensation that the physical world is rendering too slowly for your upgraded digital brain. It is the feeling that you are running a high-speed operating system on obsolete hardware, and lately it feels like everyone is experiencing it. We joke about living in a simulation. We make memes about the NPCs in our town. But these jokes are defense mechanisms. They are masking a genuine collective psychological fracture. We are slowly decoupling from physical reality because physical reality can no longer compete with the simulation we carry in our pockets. You aren't crazy. You aren't broken. You are just experiencing packet loss. You have spent so much time in the high-speed, high-contrast, optimized world of the digital that the slow, messy analog world feels like a broken server. Today, we are going to troubleshoot your connection. We are going to dig into the code of your perception and find out why you feel like a spectator in your own life. To understand the glitch, we have to talk about frame rate. In video games or cinema, frame rate determines how fluid the motion looks. The higher the frame rate, the smoother the experience. Reality, biological reality, has a rhythm. It has a speed limit. It moves at the speed of a heartbeat, a breath, a footstep. But the internet operates at the speed of light. Think about how you consume information today. A TikTok video is 15 seconds long. If the first 2 seconds don't hook you, you swipe. You are a god of time. You control the flow of dopamine with a flick of your thumb. If a video bores you, you banish it. If a song has a slow intro, you skip it. You can compress a 10-hour audiobook into 5 hours by listening at 2 times speed. Your brain is a remarkably adaptive machine. It has spent the last 10 years calibrating itself to this velocity. It has learned that information should be instant, colorful, and hyper-stimulating. It expects reality to move at 60 frames per second. It expects a new cut every 3 seconds. It expects a reward loop every time you touch a surface. But physical reality? Physical reality is excruciatingly slow. Physical reality runs at about 1 frame per second. Conversations have awkward pauses. People stutter. They lose their train of thought. Walking to the grocery store takes 10 minutes of boring, repetitive visual input. There is no skip button for traffic. There is no mute button for the construction noise outside. There is no 2 times speed for a family dinner. When you switch from the high-speed internet back to the low-speed physical world, your brain goes into shock. It's like stepping off a treadmill that was sprinting at 20 miles per hour. When you step onto solid ground, the world feels like it's stopping. You feel heavy. You feel sluggish. This is the lag. Your brain is revving its engine, waiting for the next dopamine hit, but reality isn't providing it. So your brain assumes there is a connection error. It assumes the server is down. It stops allocating resources to the real-world window because it thinks the digital world window is the one that matters. You feel bored, yes, but it's a specific kind of boredom. It is an aggressive, itching boredom. It feels like withdrawal. We have reached a point where the simulation of life is more vivid than actual life. This is what the philosopher Jean Baudrillard called hyperreality. Look at a sunset on Instagram. The saturation is cranked up. The shadows are lifted. It is a perfect blazing orange. It is beautiful. Now go outside and look at a real sunset. It's nice, but it's a little gray. It's a little hazy. It's not as sharp as the photo. Which one feels more real to your brain? The one that floods your visual cortex with perfect color, or the one that makes you squint? Sadly, for many of us, the edited photo feels more real. The map has become more important than the territory. Your brain isn't rotting, it is bored. It is checking out of reality because reality has bad graphics compared to the screen in your hand. This disconnect leads to a deeper, more dangerous psychological split, the avatar trap. We have started to view our bodies not as us, but as mechs that we pilot. Think about the language we use. You don't say, "I am hungry." You think, "The body needs fuel." You don't say, "I am tired." You think, "My battery is low." You treat your physical form like a vehicle that carries your consciousness from one screen to another. Why? Because online, you are not a body. You are an avatar. And your avatar is better than you. Your digital self is curated. It is aesthetic. It is witty. On Twitter, you can draft a joke 10 times before you post it to make sure it's perfect. On Instagram, you can take 50 photos to find the one angle where you don't look tired. You can filter out the acne. You can edit out the awkward silence. You can block the people who annoy you. Online, you have godlike control over your presentation. You are pure mind. You are pure intent. But offline, you are trapped in a biological suit that is decaying. You are awkward. You stutter when you get nervous. You have back pain. You have to go to the bathroom. You get sweaty. You get cold. You have to deal with people you didn't choose to interact with. Physical existence is messy. It is uncomfortable. It is full of friction. This creates a massive dissonance between your digital identity and your physical reality. You prefer the avatar. You identify more with the username than the name on your birth certificate. So, when you are forced to exist in the physical world, you dissociate. You retreat into the cockpit. You pull back from your eyes and watch the body move from a distance. It is a defense mechanism. It is easier to be the pilot than the mech. Because if the mech gets hurt, if the mech gets rejected, if the mech looks stupid, it hurts less if you're just watching it happen. We see this in the rise of main character syndrome. People film themselves crying. They film themselves doing good deeds. They film themselves simply walking down the street. Why? Because the moment you put a camera between you and reality, you turn your life into content. You turn your physical body into a character in a movie. And characters are safe. Characters are fictional. If you are filming your life, you aren't living it. You are directing it. And the director is always safe behind the lens. The director is never in danger. This is the ultimate form of protection, but it is also the ultimate form of isolation. But here is the danger of the glitch. When you treat real life like a low-priority background process, you stop rendering the details. You know how in video games, objects that are far away look blurry to save processing power? That is what your brain is doing to your life. You stop looking people in the eye because eye contact requires a huge amount of emotional bandwidth. You stop tasting your food because you are watching YouTube while you eat. You stop feeling the temperature of the air because you're listening to a podcast. You're running your life on low settings. You become a non-player character in your own existence. You go through the motions. You say the script, "Hi, how are you?" "Good, thanks." You walk the same path. You sit in the same chair. You scroll the same feed. This is the void that people talk about, the feeling of emptiness. It's not that you are depressed, though that can be part of it. It's that you are numb. You have derealized so hard that you only feel real when you're connected to the hive mind. You feel safer in the comments section than you do in your own living room. You feel more intimacy with a streamer you've never met than with the neighbor you've lived next to for 5 years. Because the streamer is high resolution. The streamer is optimized for your attention. The neighbor is just a guy. But deep down, the pilot is lonely. The pilot is screaming inside the helmet because humans are not brains in jars. We are not software. We are animals. We evolved to touch mud. We evolved to feel rain. We evolved to run until our lungs burned. We evolved to hold other humans and feel their heartbeats. When you starve the animal of sensory input, the animal goes insane. The glitch is your animal brain banging on the glass of the cockpit, trying to remind you that you have a body. So, how do we fix the lag? How do we re-enter the atmosphere? We cannot think our way out of dissociation. You cannot use your mind to fix a problem caused by living too much in your mind. We need sensory shock. We need to force your brain to render the graphics again. You need to remind the pilot that the mech is alive. This brings us to the meme. Touch grass. It sounds dismissive, but it is actually profound advice. But they don't mean go outside and look at a tree. Looking is passive. Looking is just more screen time. They mean touch the texture of the bark, feel the roughness, smell the dirt. You need to introduce high-friction activities into your life. The digital world is frictionless. You slide from app to app. You need the opposite. Protocol 1. The cold water shock. Tomorrow morning, turn the shower to the coldest setting. Stand under it. You will gasp. Your heart will race. You will hate it. Good. In that moment, you cannot dissociate. You cannot think about your Twitter feed. You cannot think about the embarrassing thing you said 3 years ago. You are forced violently into the present moment. The cold water forces the pilot to crash land back into the body. It reboots the system. Protocol 2. The analog hour. Pick 1 hour a day where you interact with nothing that has a screen. But don't just sit there. Use your hands. Cook a meal from scratch. Chopping onions, kneading dough. Write with a physical pen on paper. Feel the friction of the ink. Lift a heavy weight until your muscles burn. Pain and exertion are the ultimate reality anchors. You cannot glitch out when your muscles are screaming. The sensation is too high resolution to ignore. Protocol 3. Eye contact. This is the hardest one. The next time you buy a coffee or talk to a cashier or speak to your parents, look them in the eye, not for a second, but for the whole conversation. It will feel intense. It will feel awkward. You will want to look away. You will want to look at your phone. Don't. That intensity? That is the feeling of reality rendering at full bandwidth. That is the feeling of two human consciousnesses connecting without a fiber optic cable in between. It is scary because it is real. Protocol 4. Boredom. Stop filling the gaps. When you are waiting for the elevator, don't check your phone. Just stand there. Feel the awkwardness of standing. Look at the texture of the wall. Listen to the hum of the lights. Let the world be boring. Because if you can survive the boredom, you will start to notice things. You will notice the way the light hits the floor. You will notice the smell of rain. You will start to see the details again. Real life is slow. Real life is boring. Real life has terrible pacing and no soundtrack. But real life has one thing the simulation will never have: resolution. The graphics out here are infinite. The physics are perfect. The consequences are real. You have spent enough time in the lobby. You have spent enough time customizing your avatar. It is time to play the game. Open the door, feel the air, touch the grass, log off. The server is better out here. Welcome back to the headset.